Hey, let the celebration begin. StarTimes, entertain your family.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in good to have you back on Atlantic Television Network, and it's time for Open Conversation, which is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Now, through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actors to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Our first point of call is we're going to Edo State, where Philip Schreib will have. Philip Schreib will never discuss governorship ambition with me. This is coming from Governor Basike. On the ministerial confirmation, El-Rufai others missing as Senate submits confirmed names. And on APC leadership, Ganduje's emergence sending shockwave within opposition professional council. This is coming from professional council. And then we have ministerial screening, Senate and Rowdy section yesterday over Festus Kiamo's nomination. On Nijeku, Junta shuts airspace to check military intervention threats. Well, there are many conversations coming around your way. We also have an issue with a banker who made some submission at the tribunal, alleging that yes, money was released to print recharge cards. But stay with us. We have DSA in the house. We'll just get you to meet him after the break, and we'll get into open conversation proper. We'll be back to you after the break.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
And welcome back to ATN Open Conversation. And then we will just, let me get you to meet my guest. He's already seated in the studio, and then we'll bring you the conversation from Edo State. So good to have you here, Demola Sam Adeoye. Good to have you again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
All right, let's get into Edo State. The governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, counters media report on battle between him and his deputy, says there is no plan to impeach Shuaibu as his deputy. Now, you will recall that the deputy governor Philip Shaibu, had filed a suit at the Federal High Court in Abuja to prevent an alleged impeachment plot against him. While Governor Obaseki, who hosted Edo North Elders, where he said that the court action taken by Shaibu was a preemptive move ahead of his defection to the All Progressive Congress. The governor said, "Let me put it on record that I am not aware of any plot or any scheme to impeach the deputy governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu. I have also checked and there was no such plan. So the court action taken for me," he said, "is a thing of shock and disappointment." Obaseki said, "I'm trying to reflect on the move by somebody that I have given a broad latitude to do his work as deputy governor. So for him to take this kind of action is shocking." He said, "It's clear that what has happened in the last few weeks, it is a preemptive move for him to conclude what he has started." He said, "Those of you from Akoko Edo can recall that when we were discussing the issue of your local government chairman and that of Owan, there was a lot of resistance from you on the candidates he wanted to impose on you." Obaseki said, "I listened to your entreaties and thought that what you were recommending was fair. how can he be recommending the son of an APC leader in the local government? He said, you resisted and I saw reason and acceded to your request. Whilst speaking to the elders of Edo North, Obaseki said the next day, I saw on social media that he was in Abuja rubbing minds with the opposition party. Said, I have heard for months now that he has been in close consultation with friends from another party because he was not sure that you, the leaders of PDP, will give him the ticket as governor in 2024. They said, I must state here that Philip Shaibu has never had the courtesy to discuss his ambition with me. They said, the last time we spoke of my successor after the House of Assembly election, he said, I did say that we should be patient and that our task is to try and finish well and conclude all the projects we started. He said, it's only when we do this right that we will have the support of the people for his successor. He said, I believe that this action by him is a preemptive move to get a court order, keep his ticket and move to another party. He said, I think it's unfair for our party. We don't need this sort of crisis. He said, I've been getting calls all over the world and it's rather sad that somebody who is part of an administration would do this to the administration because of his personal ambition. Well, it's emotional blackmail for me. You mean he shouldn't fight for his political interests, and then what exactly? Okay, let me not even go at Obaseki. Please, what did Shaibu do that is out of the norm when it comes to politics, particularly Nigerian politicians?
You know, for me, it's all politics. Mm-hmm. It's nothing but all politics. Even though it came as a rude shock to most of us, because there was no news, there was no story to suggest that probably Shaibu and Obaseki were having issues until the case was mentioned in court, until judgment was given that there should be a stay of action and all that. But again, if you look at the story, Shaibu just wants to be part of the gubernatorial list against the Edo State election in 2024, which is next year. Obaseki saying Shaibu has not discussed with him. Well, he won't discuss with you until it's certain what he wants to do, but probably he has seen the handwriting on the wall that Obaseki might not give him the necessary support. Now, Obaseki was talking about Shaibu obnobbing with members of opposition parties and all that. Even him, was he not in APC before he decamped to PDP? It's all politics. And what do they say about politics? It's all about ambition. There's nothing wrong in having a Shaibu having the ambition to be governor come 2024. So he needs to start watering the grounds. He needs to start arranging himself, getting the right alliances to ensure that his election will be smooth. I don't know why, but really, actually, it was a thing of shock to most people when the news broke last week.
Well, now you remember how these two people fought, Governor Yesom Wike, former Governor Yesom Wike, during the the Obaseki second tenure. So when we hear the lines like "there's no permanent friend or permanent enemy in politics,"
it's all about ambition.
How much lesson do you think political jobbers would learn from this? Now, I'm bringing this to bear on the fact that some people may have missed ministerial nomination now as a result of their position taking and all of that.
Sure.
So I'm going to Miriam Shetty, the lady from Kano State, who was nominated. So yesterday or thereabouts, after her name was suddenly removed, there was even no courtesy of even telling her what
she
exactly
never knew until she got to the National Assembly
So we saw yesterday that there was a post she made in 2020. That's like 3 years ago, talking about the Ganduje and the dollar issue and all of that. And now that resurfaced, and everybody is pointing at, oh, that could be that. Now, there are several other political jobbers, as a matter of fact, who find themselves in this situation. So how much lesson do you think we can all begin to learn? Because if Philip Shaibu is now running around APC, and you have Yesom Wike running around the APC as well, what are the lessons to learn? If you look at the fact that FFK right now, a video he posted, I think 2021 about Tinubu when he called us and his handler should do something. All right, I leave everything to you now.
Well, Nigerian politics, for me, is mischievously dynamic. Mischievously dynamic. You never can tell where the table will turn to, who will swing, who will change, who will decamp, who will move to this, who will move to that. Let us start with Shetty. That post was in 2020, I guess. She made that post in 2020. And then Ganduje, who is now the APC chairman, few days ago said he was never consulted before her name surfaced on the ministerial list.
Sorry. No, hold on. Her name was already on the list.
Yes, Ganduje said he was never consulted, that he knew nothing about her name appearing on the list, just as he knew nothing about her name disappearing from the list.
It's okay.
Politics, mischievously dynamic in Nigeria. Philip Shuaibu in Edo State. Philip Shuaibu fought against his own mentor, the person of Adams Oshiomhole, for Obaseki to decamp from APC and for him to get the ticket under PDP. And we know how far that the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, went to ensure that Obaseki got that ticket. We know how well he was. As a matter of fact, he was the chairman of the campaign council for Obaseki. He was all over Edo State with the famous quote, "Wear your gyms," canvassing for votes for Obaseki. Obaseki got the ticket, won the election, and months down the line, another rift. Now Obaseki seems to want to remain in a PDP. Philip Shuaibu seems to be dancing towards APC because he wants to contest in 2024, even though he has not publicly come out to say he will run for any election in 2024. But the pointers are there that he's dancing towards APC to get the ticket against 2024. Now he will meet a Wike, who is a minister under an APC government, even though he's a member of the PDP.
Is he still a member of the PDP?
As of today, he has not resigned.
Officially, okay.
He has not resigned. He has not left.
But he doesn't seem to attend meetings or join in whatever.
But funny enough, he's a member of the campaign council for PDP campaign council for Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State election.
And Dino is a PDP candidate.
PDP candidate in Kogi.
Okay.
Nigerian politics mischievously dynamic.
All right, let's get to the National Assembly. So the Senate on Monday turned into a rowdy section over the federal government's public works program and the failure of Festus Keyamo to honor its invitation over a 52 billion naira appropriation when he was Minister of State for Labor and Employment in 2020. Senator Darlington Wokocha, in his point of order and called on Section 88, subsection 1A and B of the 1999 Constitution as amended, stated that the Senate should allow the nominee defend the appropriation under his leadership of 20,000 naira to 1,000 persons across the 774 local government area. We'll bring you the report and we'll come back to you.
Point of order. Mr. President, point of order.
The Senate, having resumed its ministerial screening on Monday and after successful screening, Dr. Maria Bonkure turned into a rowdy session after Festus Keyamo's relationship and conduct with the Nigerian Senate was brought into questioning by Senator Darlington. Senator Darlington's point of order anchored on Section 88, subsection 1B, which gave the Senate the obligation to investigate any matter that affects the nation and its citizens. The lawmaker stated that Festus Keyamo refused to appear before the Senate to investigate the 52 billion naira pegged to cushion the effects of COVID-19 in the year 2020 and moved that the nominee defend the matter before they can proceed with his screening. The motion moved by Senator Darlington resulted into a rowdy session and culminated to a closed-door session which lasted for over 2 hours.
And this falls within his own area of operation as the junior minister for labor and employment. Highly welcome. And not only that, he went as far as in the public line to say that when he was asked, which indices did you use to gain this? He said, in quote, they are not from the moon. That was too arrogant to answer Nigerians that way. Because we're talking about what we support and help our people. That is why we are here. Anything outside that, I will walk away from this chamber. My interest, your interest, and the interest of everybody is our people. That is why we are here. Not whatever thing any person is saying. And today, we need to find out, Mr. Senate President. Nobody is stopping him from being cleared. No. And I'm happy the way the president has sent so many people, great people here. We have questioned them, passed through the screening, wonderful people, and we're ready. As much as they are ready to work with the system, we are ready to clear them. But not on the grounds of putting something under the table, not granting some people fair hearing, because I would like us to grant him fair hearing since he has been running away from it, for people, for Nigerians to know what really happened. Because I wouldn't like any person to be holding that, because this thing has been subject of debate here and there. What happened to the 52 billion? What happened to the... But he is here, and it's our responsibility to find out. So, Mr. President of the Senate, I'm of the opinion so strongly that he has to tell us what really happened, but not here. We have to keep it down a little bit. We're not saying that we're not going to clear him. This is a house that can reconvert at any point. You can even call for an emergency and we'll reconvert.
After the closed-door section, the Senate reconvened to resolve the issue after the nominee apologized to the upper chamber and doused the tension already heated up. Festus Keyamo, in his defense, said all payment was done through the CBN to the account of the nominated Nigerians for the program and not from the ministry.
A fantastic relationship. We were visiting ourselves at home. We had a relationship outside the office. It was as good as that. I had done that to him personally and to the committee before, and I do that to the entire Senate at this time. Maybe it was as a result of the lack of knowledge of the fact that this matter had long been resolved between us and the members of that committee. Subsequently, there were so many hearings, budget defense and all that we attended on a very convivial atmosphere. So the apology is without reservation at all. I apologize. The only two things I just need to say before I go, because we are before the world, one or two things. One is that regarding that program, because when Nigerians hear a figure, their ears go up. Hey, one big figure has been mentioned. No. Regarding that program, every single payment, and I insisted to the past president that it must come from the central bank directly to the accounts of the people who were nominated to receive those funds. And so we as ministers, both ministers in the ministry and the head of the agency at that time that we supervised, never saw one kobo. It was straight, all we needed to do was to generate the list and pass to the CBN. And the CBN paid directly from the CBN account to those individual accounts. In the bid and passion for both the executive and the legislature to bring dividends of democracy to Nigerians and to ensure that Nigerians have, the benefits of government programs, perhaps some compromises are needed at all times, rather than the strict adherence to legality. And I think that is exactly the lesson I take away from this. That compromises are needed here and there for the purpose, I repeat, for the purpose of bringing succor to Nigerians. Because when people hold, to their sides, because of legality at times, the Nigerians are the ones who suffer for it. And I think that is the spirit going forward. I want to thank the Senate. I want to thank the Senate President, thank all the distinguished senators for their magnanimity on this occasion.
Even though some lawmakers have some questions for the nominee, before the leadership of the Senate allowed the nominee to take the leave of the Senate, leaving some questions unasked, and has since commenced the confirmation of some nominees. From Abuja, Rotimi Adewuyi, ATN News.
Thank you, Rotimi, for that report. I'm coming back to you, DSA. So here we are, from the rowdy section to the reconvening after 2 hours, to the trip to Aso-Rock and back again, agreeing to screen him, and finally the screening was done. Let's just bring you in here.
I like the way everything panned out yesterday over as regards Festus Keyamo's screening. One thing, ministers or whoever public servant, if you are summoned by the National Assembly, please do well to honor the invitation. Do well to go and defend yourself. Do well to answer questions posed at you. Because what happened to Festus now is a case of a sin he committed against the Senate years ago. 2020. Coming back to haunt him now in 2023. But what are the allegations? Like you rightly noted, 52 billion is a lot of money. If you hear to 52 billion, you'll ask questions. I mean, it's natural for Nigerians to ask questions. What happened? But he went forward to say that, okay, yes, 20,000 naira each. I think it was for a period of 3 months, 3 or 6 months, I can't recollect exactly, for 1,000 people across the 774 local governments of Nigeria. They are to be paid that money for like 3 or 6 months, I'm not so certain. But the total sum came to 52 billion naira. And he said that the money, the list of beneficiaries are with the National Directorate of Employment, NDE. You see, for someone like Mr. President, who has the reputation of being a fantastic talent hunter, I would have thought that by now, before now, if Festus Keyamo's name was on his list, the name should have been forwarded to DSS. Now we can ask DSS certain questions. How did some of these nominees scaled DSS to get to the list, and then now we're having series of drama at the National Assembly.
It's all the one for El
Rufai, series of drama.
Miriam Shetty.
We have the issue of Dan Ladi. We have the issue. I mean, why all this drama? Then the young man, what's his name, over the weekend? Bosun. Why all this drama now?
Because they ought to have gone through.
Were the names forwarded to DSS? Did DSS, was a service of DSS, did they do a thorough job going through the records of these individuals? Those are the questions that we should be asking. And don't forget that, okay, yeah, elections were held February 2023. Declaration of, the results.
1st of March, Wednesday.
Came out. So Mr. President had from 1st of March till May 29. That is outside the 60 minutes. The people
he wants to work with.
Exactly. Let us look at from 1st of March till May 29, when he was eventually sworn in. Then from May 29 till the last day of the 60 days time gap that he had by law. What has he been doing for someone who is reputed to have a special capacity for talent hunting? So what has happened? What did he do?
Maybe age happened.
What did DSS do?
No, because sorry to interrupt you. This is actually a question that bugged my mind.
Yes.
Yes, there are a lot of things everybody expects of Tinubu. He's not a good man, he's corrupt and all of that. But I don't have power to change all of it. For me as a Nigerian, I'm expecting, there's something I was told about you. In 1999, I was quite young. I didn't know much about governance and all, of course. But now I'm seeing you, I'm hearing about what you have done. So your antecedents should come to play here.
Replicate
so I'm wondering, how you not prepared? So that's why I said maybe age, because the man is not young anymore.
Yes.
So it's like we're expecting maybe the feeling
of
vibrance we had in 1999. Yeah? Maybe that's what we're expecting. Maybe that's why.
Maybe expectations are rather too high.
Yeah.
But
all right.
We'll see how it goes. I wish Festus Keyamo well. I'm issue with Dan Ladi. Dan Ladi's case is peculiar. Dan Ladi had a court verdict against him that said he should not be appointed or elected or run. He should not have any public appointment for 10 years.
All right, we'll have more of that conversation because it's the El-Rufai's name that is missing in the confirmed list that I'm wondering what's going on. But before that, let's get to Ekiti State. The Ekiti State chapter of the New Nigeria People's Party has disassociated itself from calls by some individuals within the party for the suspension of the national leader and presidential candidate of the party in the 2023 general election, Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso. This was stated in a press statement jointly signed on Monday by the party's governorship candidate in the 2022 election, Fatumilola Oladosun, and the 3 senatorial candidates in the 2023 elections, namely Motunde Fajiyi, Ekiti Central, Ade Ayani, Ekiti North, and Samuel Olofun, Ekiti South. The Southwest Zonal Financial Secretary of the party, Prince Ade Ajayi, also co-signed the statement. The stakeholder stated that we hereby disassociate the Ekiti State chapter of NNPP from such illegal, obnoxious moves. Such actions should be ignored as the players have neither the mandate nor the fit to represent the interests of the components of the real members of the party in Ekiti State. We hereby make bold to declare that NNPP Ekiti State does not have any chairman in place for now to call for the resignation and suspension of our dear success icon and great national party leader, His Excellency Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. As an Ekiti NNPP stakeholder member is part of such unpopular, unacceptable and selfish moves by disgruntled elements who were either suspended or reprimanded for their shortcomings one way or the other. He said, we implore all and sundry to see the illegal call as a ploy to destabilize the party's unity and harmony and take us back to the quashed failure of the past. She said anyone who claims to support such moves from the Ekiti State chapter of NNPP is on his own, not representing us. Such a person or persons is or are not known to our party, New Nigeria's People Party in Ekiti State. He said they are enemies of the projected progress being worked upon for the party's future. It is a matter of corruption fighting back. I don't know where that is coming from. I mean, the line of corruption fighting back. Anyway, here is the thing now. Why is Kwankwaso a threat to anyone? And I'm asking because the man doesn't have a political office right now. A few days ago, Ganduje went so petty at him and made all kinds of ridiculous statements against his supposedly mentor or political godfather back in the day. And all of that played out in public. And I mean, we have see what Yusuf is doing now, by the way. But leave that also on the side and begin to ask yourself, why are you calling for Ganduje's Kwankwaso's sack? Is it that you want to put an end to the party? And now these people are saying, no, there is no such thing. We are not party to that. So, but again, I want to ask, what's the idea of saying you want to sack the national, the party leader?
Founder
as a matter of fact.
You see, some politicians just want to be heard. When I read that story, was it 2 days ago? I was just laughing. Some politicians just want to be heard. They just want to be seen.
That's the Ganduje story.
Yeah, the Kwankwaso story. They just want to be seen. They just want their name in print. They just want their faces on television. There is no executive committee of NNPP in Ekiti State as it is. And I think virtually in all states, the executive committees across the states have been dissolved. Now you woke up from one side of your bed one morning, call yourself together and say you want to suspend the founder and national leader of the party. On what premise?
Anti-party.
On what premise are you going to do that? And I love the response of the governorship candidate of NNPP in Ekiti State. I love the response of the Senate candidates in Ekiti State of NNPP and the House of Reps and all members of, that got tickets under the party of NNPP in Ekiti State. The way they quickly came out to debunk the alleged suspension of Kwankwaso. Some politicians, if you ask me, they just want to heat up the polity. They just want their names in print. They just want their faces on television. They just want to be heard. But again, I will advise that those in charge of the party should quickly call them and ask questions so that we don't have a scenario like what is playing out in Labour Party with Apampa and the rest of the, he's a candidate, he's not a candidate, he's the chairman, I'm not the chairman. Nigerians are no longer interested in all that. How do they say, the boat are sailed.
Yeah, absolutely. But here is the thing. I want to go back to what questioning the motive behind the call for Kwankwaso's sack. Yes, the Ekiti State NNPC have come out to say we don't even have a chairman because they dissolved the ESCO across board.
Yes.
Across board. So when you now say you want to sack the party founder, you want to, this is just like 24 hours after Ganduje did what he did in Kano while he was talking to his people. If you look at that side by side and begin to ask yourself, well, what's the coincidence? What could be the motive here? Who has Kwankwaso hurt in the first place? Did he take anything away from anybody? Now, when you see politicians begin to go this way and that way, which is why I'm asking, what would you think it could be the motive behind this?
I think the progenitors of the so-called attempt to suspend Kwankwaso should come out and tell what exactly what is eating them up. They should come out and tell us. They just can't hide behind we to issue a statement and then they will not give us reasons.
Exactly.
They should be the one to come and tell us, what has Kwankwaso done? Your party did not even win in Ekiti State. So it cannot be a case of Kwankwaso insisting that certain people should be commissioners under the party in the state. Your party did not win in the state. How many seats did your party win in Ekiti State across board? So they should be the one to come and tell Nigerians, they should be the one to tell the members of the party what are the sins of Kwankwaso to have warranted them asking for his trying to suspend him. Yeah.
Interesting times ahead. That's like David and his sons. When it was Absalom that took over the home and chased his father away. Maybe that's what they want to play. They want to try their hand on that.
Well, it won't be, again, sorry to come in. Nobody can, you never can say never. Maybe they have support from another person. So let us try and shake Kwankwaso a bit. If it crumbles, we can install somebody else as the new. So
why is Kwankwaso standing as a threat to anyone then? Because
he's the founder and is the spirit behind the party. So if they think they can break him.
Now, does this have anything to do with what is going on in Kano State? You know, I'm going to say this. I think there is more. We're expecting more drama. Of course, Kwankwaso is very talking type. Yes. But because there's a loquacious party leader there who is already talking a lot anyway. But here is the thing now. Kwankwaso and his Yusuf, his boy, are giving Ganduje major hits in Kano State. Yes. Now, why is, like I said, 24 hours after this conversation, we saw these other people coming out to say he has to go and all that. What is going on? Why is Kwankwaso a threat? Do you think this has anything to do with what is going on in Kano State right now? Because as soon as he left office, you remember the Gandola video has been come out to say it's actually an authentic video.
Yes.
And now the investigation is going on. Falana said that case must go on. So
could
it be that Kwankwaso coming back to Kano, Albert through Yusuf,
the new governor,
yes, is giving Ganduje and maybe others a chase or a run for whatever money they may have, dollar or naira.
It's inevitable that the new governor of Kano State, who happens to be a mentee of Kwankwaso, will definitely ruffle some feathers of Ganduje. It's inevitable. Kwankwaso has a large followership in Kano State. He has a very huge and large followership in Kano State. And that's why he was able to win the governorship seat for his party in Kano State. So it's to be expected that Ganduje...
He also won the presidential ticket.
Yes, exactly. Presidential election in Kano State. So it's to be expected that Ganduje will be a bit ruffled. Now that Ganduje is no longer the governor, is now just a party chairman, you never can say.
But he can still, Ganduje can still oppress with being a party chairman.
He can't do that. He doesn't have the influence of state. He doesn't have the paraphernalia of the state to try to suppress anybody, because The man who is occupying the seat now in Kano State is actually an ANPP man.
I understand that, but when Ganduje said, I think that was yesterday, he said that their door is open for Kwankwaso. If he wants to defect, he's free to come to the APC, that they welcome him. And then he made some very odd statements.
Some remarks.
That was very uncalled for. But that's what it. And I've seen that Kwankwaso have unseated Ganduje on the throne and power he felt he had. He didn't just win the governorship election for his candidates. He had over 1 million votes in Kano alone, which clearly says, I'm still the boss here.
Without a doubt.
Could that be the reason?
Governor. Kwankwaso, without any iota of doubt, is the man in Kano State. I don't see a Ganduje without the paraphernalia of office as a governor challenging a Kwankwaso in Kano. I don't see the success in it. I don't see the motive behind. I don't see why Ganduje will even attempt such a suicide risk, if you ask me. I don't see it. I really don't see it.
I hope Ganduje gets it, because now that he's going at someone who has a very strong influence, and remember that Kano is a swing state. So everyone who knows what they are doing in politics, I'm sure would want to know that they will have to have Kano. So now that you're threatening the man who's got the Kwankwasia movement that rules Kano State, I hope that Ganduje gets to check his excesses, and of course, and let dear Kwankwaso breathe, like the president would
and again, don't forget that Kwankwaso is friends with the incumbent president. That's
my point. That's exactly where I'm going to, because Tinubu doesn't play. And I hope that everyone who knows Ganduje can pass, and let in the president voice, and let Kwankwaso breathe.
Breathe. It is our responsibility.
We'll take a short break. We'll come back to you and we'll talk APC leadership, Ganduje's emergence that is said to be sending shockwave within the opposition. We'd like to know what that is about, but that will be after the break, everyone.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Hey, welcome to the StarTimes 35th anniversary celebration. To say thank you to every StarTimes family for being an integral part of our journey, StarTimes has decided to give you a price slash on decoders. Yes, we are slashing the price of our antenna decoder from 8,900 naira to 7,500 naira and the dish decoder from 13,300 naira to 9,900 naira. But that's not all. Existing subscribers can recharge for 2 months on their current bouquet and get upgraded to the next higher bouquet. And if you recharge on the classic or super bouquet, you will receive a fantastic reward of extra 15 days of free viewing. You can enjoy our top local and international content. So, what are you waiting for? Quickly, visit any StarTimes outlet around you to recharge or buy your decoder between June 12th to August 31st to enjoy this fabulous offer. Wow! Yay! Let the celebration begin! StarTimes. Entertain your family.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said they are. Alright, good to have you back on ATN's Open Conversation now. The APC Professional Council has in a congratulatory message co-signed by its National Director Sheyi Bangbade and National Deputy Director Abba Rabiu, who also served as Senior Special Assistant on Political Awareness to the former Governor Ganduje, said the opposition parties were currently jittery over the newly elected chairman who wields an array of experience in the management of humans and resources. So the message reads, the emergence of Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje as the national chairman of our great party and Senator Bashiru Ajibola as national secretary is undoubtedly a good omen in our drive to continue offering the Nigerian people excellent service. It is also interesting that this has sent a strong message to the opposition, especially the PDP and the Labour Party, that it is not more business as usual. The coming on board of the new leadership has sent a shock wave within their ranks, and we are glad to say that Ganduje is the right man for the job, as he has assured he would hit the ground running by ensuring a genuine reconciliation among various factions across the country who are aggrieved from the outcomes of the 2023 general elections. We have no doubt that this leadership will record a huge success and contribute meaningfully to the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency Bola Tinubu to all Nigerians. The professional said they have no doubt that this leadership will record a huge success and contribute meaningfully to the renewed hope agenda of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All right, they are called the Professional Council. Okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm looking at, are they political professional council? Are we looking at actual professionals? So, but now we're just talking about Ganduje, and we said just about 24 hours thereabouts ago, he was in the news for castigating one of the strongest persons he should be thinking of how to bring back to the APC, yes, and that's Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Now, Dr. Kwankwaso being his mentor and whom he served under as deputy governor and what have you, over time have maintained what I would call classy silence, where he seemed to be poking and poking. Now, again, he's also having a running battle with the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. So we would expect that a man with such huge responsibility on his hand or shoulder or head, as the case may be, would hit the ground running like the so-called professional council have said. But we seem to see him bickering at the grassroots, going back to Kanu to bicker. Do you think now Ganduje actually have the national will or spread or the ability, as the case may be, to actually bring the APC together?
You know, I'll say this. If given a choice, of who President Tinubu will rather want in his camp between Ganduje and Kwakwaso, I am certain to a reasonable extent that Tinubu will need a Kwakwaso more than he will need a Ganduje. Tinubu will need a Wike now more than he will need a Ganduje. Let us look at certain scenarios. Should there be a need for a rerun of elections? Should there be a need for a rerun in certain states? Tinubu will definitely prefer having a Kwakwaso on his side in Kano. Tinubu would rather prefer having a Wike on his side in Rivers, which invariably means Tinubu will be better off having a Kwakwaso on his side, or better off having a Wike on his side. And these are two people that the new chairman of APC wants to banter with. Let me be mild. Banter with. Now I saw the report. I saw the statement issued by professional councils that the other parties are jittery because there's his emergence as sending shock. And I wonder, like I said earlier, some politicians just want to be heard. The professional council, I've never heard about them before.
Just hearing for the first time.
So this is they should enjoy their moment of
glory.
Glory. They're under the lights now. They should enjoy it. But after now, what happens? It's a good way to try to boost the confidence. Invariably, Ganduje is the principal. It's a good way to try to boost the confidence of their principal, and then send the message to Nigerians that there's a new sheriff in town. And I wonder, that same APC, a party that could not resolve internal crisis. We know how the story went from pushing Oshiomhole out all through that period till now. We all know the story. And we know how the drama that played out before the APC primaries. Today's chairman said, Baba said, it's Lawan as a candidate, is this one as a candidate. Who is jittery?
Okay, now speaking of being jittery, let's have this conversation right now. So Ganduje has, like I said earlier, he has a load on his shoulders to ensure that he builds the party, like the professional council did say, put the party together. So let's start from Rivers State. There is a major concern right now when it comes to the APC. The country, Nigeria, is looking at Ganduje as the chairman of the ruling APC to see how you can bring about an Amechi and a Wilson Wike. Are you going to maintain this people, bring one into the party? What are you going to do to ensure that? Now, if you take that to Ondo State right now, the Akeredolu situation with the deputy and all of that is going on, nobody seems to hear anything from that. If there are too many issues around the APC as a party right now that you would think that, go to the North Central. Lukman just resigned. That's Kaduna State on the chopping board. While you're looking at that on one side, then you ask yourself, what about Adamu or Mishere? There are too many loose ends. We even had to meet with these people, remember? Yes. And now this man is busy. When we are, first of all, we were expecting a major reconciliatory statement.
Mending fences.
I'm going, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. And then you went back to Kano to play the grassroots politics and then bickering with your superior, if you may.
Yeah. You see, prior to even the 2023 elections, APC has been a deeply fragmented party across the nation. Across the nation. It was a deeply fragmented party. And with the emergence, to be very honest with you, the party went into the election riding on the crest of who emerged as a party candidate at the federal level, at the national level. Talking about the emergence of Bola Tinubu. The party members of the party went ahead with that election because of the person of Ahmed Tinubu, not because the party was enjoying any form of cohesion across the state. Now talking about Ganduje, who will he bring into the party from Rivers State? Will he want a Wike in the party, or will you want to retain an Amechi in the party? Honestly, do you want my honest opinion on that? The only person that will determine who will be in APC from River State, if you ask me, unfortunately so, will be Wike.
Okay. So, do you think, from the fights they had in those states not too long ago, when it has to do with Obaseki and all of that, do you think Ganduje has the ability to pull Wike into the APC? Because those are the tests.
It's a decision for Wike to make.
Okay, so
it has nothing to do with the capacity of Ganduje. Really,
I'm not even talking about Wike as a person. Now, let's even say he may be considering it. Okay. Do you think that Ganduje have the power to bring the Wike, somebody like Wike into the APC as a means of consolidating what they have?
If he goes about it the right way, he might succeed in resolving issues across the state chapters of APC. If he goes about it the right way, it might be a tedious route, it might be long, but it's achievable.
Okay.
If he can, and if he decides to submit himself to achieving that aim.
Okay, now let's understand, let's really wrap this particular conversation up with this. What part of Ganduje's personality, what part of his ability as a national chairman right now for the APC, what part of all of this you think will be sending a shock wave to the PDP and the Labour Party, and why?
As regards, I'm sure you're referring to what the professional council said.
I'm trying to figure it out in my head. Why would Ganduje's emergence be a threat to Labour Party?
Shockwave, is he trying to woo over? What capacity does he have to woo over members of the Labour Party, to deplete the numbers in Labour Party? What capacity does he have to deplete the numbers in PDP?
How is
so
that going to pan out?
Well, like I said earlier, it's a good one from the professional council to boost the ego of the principal.
Okay, we'll just wish them the very best there then. Now, let's go to Ogun State. A very interesting conversation. So, an official of Zenith Bank, Mrs. Celestina Appeal, who is the head of card services of the bank on Monday, appeared as a witness before the governorship election petition tribunal sitting in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The bank official had been subpoenaed in relation to allegation of vote buying through preloaded ATM cards leveled against Oladipo Adebutu. Now, counsel to Governor Dapo Abiodun, Professor Taiwo Osipitana, had earlier informed the panel that 2 letters were submitted to Zenith Bank in February, seeking clarification on how Adebutu opened a special account for the purpose of his action with the bank, as well as the request he made for issuance of 200,000 preloaded ATM cards containing 10,000 naira each, some days before the March 18 gubernatorial election. Wow. The witness started the presentation of her evidence by submitting the certified true copy of a letter written to Zenith Bank by Oladipo Adebutu, dated 27 February 2023, 2 days after the presidential election, which the PDP lost, by requesting to open an account for the production of 200,000 ATM Verve cards containing 10,000 each and totaling 2 billion naira. She also, sorry, I think that's totaling 200 billion, if I got that. That's totaling 2 billion naira. Okay. Now, she also presented another certified true copy of a letter written by Adebutu and addressed to the bank, dated the same 27th February 2023, requesting for the issuance of the 200,000 ATM Verve cards. Also, she tendered a record of delivery of and collection of the prepaid ATM cards to Adebutu and the sample of the card, including statement of accounts opened in the name of Oladipo Adebutu, which indicates inflow and outflow of the account from February to May 2023, and certificates of compliance. Well, the second and third witnesses that appeared before the panel, that's Mr. Odesanya Olalekan, an artisan from Ijebu Northeast, and Adeosun Wahid, a businessman from Abeokuta North, both confirmed the distribution of the preloaded ATM cards by PDP members on the day of the election. Well, the tribunal, in its ruling, accepted the copy of the subpoena and marked it as Exhibit RA5. Also, the letter tendered by the first witness requesting for ATM by Adebutu was admitted as Exhibit RA6. In the same vein, the letter of deposit of 2 billion naira was marked as Exhibit RA7. I need to take a deep breath. So, let's look at this for what it is. There was a rumor by the opposition saying that this is what had played out by Abiodun team, Abiodun's team, saying this is what had played out, that the APC shouldn't the Adebutu group should not be talking about,
because the party engaged in vote buying.
Exactly, because there is an issue. And at the point, I just thought it was one of those political rhetorics you have politicians make just to counter what the opposition said. So it's becoming more alarming in my head right now. Like, you know, we're talking about, it was during the period of a naira scarcity and all of that. You know, we're talking about having no naira, how they're going to buy votes and all of that. Meanwhile, somebody was, I think we're very intelligent people, DSC.
See,
I think we're very intelligent people in this country.
Like I said earlier, Nigerian politicians are mischievously ingenious. They're one of the major.
Just like they have.
They have.
Sorry. No, but let's look at the ingenious part of it. Before look at the disingenuous. But you know, like on a serious note, someone actually sat down. You don't want us to have cash, yeah? Not to worry, we know what to do. You figured out that one person can have 200,000 accounts
and issue
in one name.
No, issue the cards
in his
under
name.
The foundation of his mother, Caroline Adebutu.
Yes. So now, because that was where the conversation started. But his name, the name on the card is his name. So you have this card, and this card was meant to expire between that February and March, which was after the election. So just take your 10,000 naira, you vote for me, and that's it. Now, do you know cards in what name?
That is where the SFIU.
Yeah.
That is an angle SFIU should look at. That is an angle EFCC should look at. That is an angle.
ICPC too.
Yes, that's an angle the bankers committee should look at.
Bankers Association or something.
Or something, yes.
Wow. I don't know. There's been a lot of revelations from the 2023 election and the tribunal, but this is like the peak at this point. Are you serious?
I will take 2 revelations so far. Ooh. This is one. Number 2 was INEC rejecting the evidence given by an INEC staff.
Oh, no,
those 2.
There are several. The one that also got me thinking is, how do you bring in Amazon to? How do you lie against Amazon, claiming that your system had
glitches?
There were glitches, and Amazon didn't know. How did you? Oh no! I don't know how we're going to come. If we're going to come as smelling of roses or death after this tribunal, but whoa!
You see, Adebutu has a big case.
But what about Zenith Bank themselves?
But for now, Zenith Bank is not in the dock. It's Adebutu that's in the dock.
Yeah.
Adebutu and his team, they have a huge explanations again to make.
Wow. All right. Let's take a deep breath, everyone.
200,000 cards.
Wow. In one person's name.
Caroline Adebutu's name.
And then you were giving out these cards.
Already loaded.
With 10,000 naira.
It's no longer.
In office, you find yourself in the country has been outstanding. In the Bureau of Public Enterprises, your record in there is there. In FCT as a minister, your record is there. And as two-time governor of Kaduna State, so they said you did well. We're raising a brown envelope, Karimi further stated. But I have a very strong petition against you that borders on security, unity, and cohesiveness of the Nigerian nation. And I think that the petition has to be considered in this screening exercise. Karimi then proceeded proceeded to lay the petition before Jibrin Barr, the Deputy Senate President who was presiding over the screening exercise at the time. Barr in response said, "I don't know if you follow the normal process, but this is the opportunity for nominees to explain and showcase themselves later. We will come to confirmation and approval." While other senators did recommended El-Rufai, noting that the former governor is competent enough to be a minister. Meanwhile, after making his presentation, the Senate President at the plenary refused to take the petition leveled against the former governor and said a number of petitions were submitted against a number of ministerial nominees. So Akpabio said this is not the place to consider petitions. We will sit with the petitions later and refer them to relevant authorities. But now we don't know what the relevant authorities are, if they submitted it or not. But I'm wondering, of all names, I understand Dan Ladin. I understand his case, and Stella too. I understand that these are like known cases that are being looked into right now. But El-Rufai, is it that bad? I mean, when it comes to is it provocative statements and all of that?
Some of these provocative statements. And then the security issue in southern Kaduna, all through his 8-year tenure. Kaduna became what I could term a bloodbath zone.
Southern Kaduna
in particular. It was like a bad story every week or every other week. And it went on and on and on and on and on. So yes, if the relevant authorities will need to go through the records, will need to go through and investigate the petition. The crux of that petition is yet to be revealed. But I'm sure by the time the relevant authorities, as was mentioned, will be involved in, they will have a deeper view, a deeper understanding of where to channel their investigation to. But if you really look at it, if it has to do with national security and cohesion, then it is a serious matter. It is indeed a very, very serious matter that should be looked into thoroughly. So many people are of the opinion that Nasiru El-Rufai, because of the security situation in Kaduna State, also
flight tracking websites is showing that there are currently no aircraft in Niger's skies. The West African group of countries, ECOWAS, had earlier warned it could use force if President Mohamed Bazoum was not reinstated. A junta spokesman says Niger's armed forces are ready to defend the country. This is coming after Mr. Bazoum was detained on July 26th, and General Abdurrahman Tiani, a commander of the Presidential Guard, later proclaimed himself the new leader. While military takeover has been internationally condemned, including by former colonial power France and the rest of the European Union, as well as the United Nations and the United States. Okay, this shutting down of the airspace, is being counter-threat and what have you. A lot of people have said that the ECOWAS, the move they made was not the right move to make. They could have thought of, okay, what is going on? Can we come to the drawing table? It wasn't to push in threats and sanctions, Nigeria pulling the electricity from Niger. Yeah, and all of those drama and threats have gone forth, and they're sending two emissaries, Abdusalam Abubakar and the Sultan of Sokoto to as an emissary, which they
ECOWAS was rather very hasty in the decision that the threats and all that. Why don't you just wait a while? Start from the position of diplomacy first. That should have been the natural progression. When diplomacy fails, then you might start issuing subtle threats. But at least you should have started from the position of diplomacy, which unfortunately ECOWAS decided not to do. And talking about closing the airspace is to be expected. They will want to close their airspace to...
Yeah, because Nigeria already shut down land borders.
Land borders, yes. It will hurt the economy of Niger. It will hurt the people of Niger. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is the way it is played. It's international politics now we're talking about. But talking about ECOWAS trying to go to Niger with us, who is going to fund it? Yes, Nigeria is a poor country.
Shouldn't the ECOWAS chairman, our president, know that already?
That is what we're saying. Diplomacy should have been the first option. Yeah, diplomacy should have been the first option.
Because right now, they've convened another meeting. I think that is going to be on Friday or
I think Thursday, Friday.
Thereabout. Now, that's ECOWAS again meeting. Now,
in Nigeria.
Yeah. This is after they met and issued all the threats. The military heads of states did meet. I guess nothing came out of that. And now they are not coming to meet again. So are we expecting like a diplomatic statement coming out to see some form of mediation?
It's the only way to go. It's the only way to go, because if you look at the West Coast, look at what's going on in Niger, look at what is going on in Mali, look at what is going on in Burkina Faso. Yeah, I know to a large extent the Nigerian junta, right? They are riding on the waves of public acceptance to an extent. But then again, how do you want to encourage a Wagner to come to your country?
Yeah, because that's...
How do you want to encourage a Wagner to come into your country? Have they taken time, as the brain behind the junta, taking time to study what Wagner has done in other African countries where they have been, where they are?
Okay, or just Russia recently.
Just Russia recently. If Russia could chase them,
narrowly escaped.
Absolutely. Why would you want such a team in your country?
So is this a case, I asked on the other show, a case of the friend of my enemy is my friend?
Something like that. But
again, enemy of my friend is my friend.
Yes, well, but again, the junta needs to be a bit more careful. Very, very careful, because Nigeria needs to be careful. We share a common border with Niger from even Zamfara area, and we all know
there are 6 states.
Yes, states, and we all know that the major cause of insecurity in Zamfara is the mining.
Let's not have that conversation. Let's not have that conversation. Let's hope that when they meet,
they'll be able to resolve this.
Yeah, the excitement of feeling too powerful, I'm ECOWAS chairman and what have you, and allowing the West, because a lot of people are also saying that this is a battle between the West and the East. It has nothing to even do with Africa and all of that. Well, the convener of the National Peace Advisors Assistance, an initiative of the World Peace Organization and resident country director of Diplomatic Mission Peace and Prosperity, Ambassador Professor Olumuyiwa Babalola, has said that only political diplomatic mechanisms can resolve the crisis in Niger Republic. He also asked the chairman of ECOWAS, Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Bola Tinubu, to reconsider the regional bloc's planned military action to restore democratic rule in Niger. The convener maintained that only diplomatic and political mechanism can be used to address the situation. He also called on President Tinubu to adopt the aforementioned channels to save Nigerians. Babalola said that the recent unveiling ceremony of the special advisors on peace matters to assist the federal and local levels of the government in Nigeria. So I'm trying to figure out when is Nigeria, when is forgive me for that. Supported by the World Peace Program for Sustainable Development Network, will allow Nigerians to preach, practice, and live in peace whenever they find themselves in any way that would complement the government's effort to achieve a lasting peace for the country. So he said this is because already we are having the problem of insecurity ranging from banditry and kidnapping to farmers, herders feud across the country, as well as insurgency in the north, militants in the Niger Delta, and political violence in the southeast had left the country backward in terms of national and socio-economic development. They say, we believe that lasting peace can only be achieved through peace initiatives and mechanisms with a genuine human approach. Hence, the invention of the idea of special advisors on peace matters as it is first of its kind in Nigeria and Africa, like to assist the government in securing sustainable peace at federal, state, local levels for national unity growth, Professor Babalola stated. How critical is this conversation for us at this point, especially to the president of Nigeria?
I think the government of Nigeria should embrace this advice wholeheartedly. I think the government of Nigeria should embrace this wholeheartedly. Seek for diplomatic options. It's just no two ways about it. We should seek for diplomatic options. The entire ECOWAS should seek for diplomatic options. Okay, now the 7 days have elapsed. The 7 days ultimatum given has elapsed. What can you do? Don't forget that Nigeria, whichever way you look at it, is one of the... They
are meeting again.
Yes, it's one of the biggest countries in Africa. Even though they have small population, but the landmass is huge. The landmass is extremely huge. Let President Tinubu and other head of governments in the West African coast meet and embrace this option given by this group wholeheartedly. We should find a way to engage diplomatically. We should find a way to engage diplomatically. If we should go to war, if ECOWAS should go to war against Nigeria, the disaster therefore will be massive. The after effect therefore will be massive. We cannot afford. Nearly half of the regions already contending with issues of banditry, kidnapping, fundamentalists. Now you don't want to add this to it.
And this is going down years.
We don't want to add this to this.
All right, thank you, Demola Samadoye, DSA. It's been interesting and refreshing having you on the show. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, and that's been a show, everyone. Now, if you missed any part of the show, first of all, thank you, everyone, for joining us on the morning ride today. I mean, it's been one sweet story or the other, but there are some sweet stories, you know. I mean, Labour is not going on strike. You know, Minister of Justice are just withdrawn. They've just withdrawn
the
contempt suit, which at least let's breathe from that angle. All right, but if you miss any part of the conversation, not to worry, we got you covered. You just go to our Facebook and YouTube. We have the shows were streamed live and recorded there. So all you need to do is can watch back, and we look forward to hearing from you. DSA and I look forward to hearing from you. But then from there on, we would like you to also watch us live wherever you are, anytime in a part of the world. AtlanticNetwork.tv. You can get us live there, or you can also watch us live by downloading our app, ATN Live, from the App Store. Of course, you can also watch us live on Facebook and YouTube, but follow us on our Facebook and YouTube page. We Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram and TikTok, we Atlantic TV Network 1. On Twitter, we are Atlantic TV Net. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place